All right, perfect. We're live. All right, guys, welcome to First and Goal. I'm your host, Flav Orellana, brought to you by Four Corner Sports New York. All right, guys, so we just completed week two in the 2020 NFL season, and wow, what a week two we ended up having because some people are out for the year. Some coaches got some hefty fines to begin with, and some pretty enticing games like Monday Night Football, the Sunday Night Football game. Some pretty interesting games, but we'll talk about the rundown. So Thursday night football, we had week two, Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns got stomped week one against the Baltimore Ravens. Highly expected. I felt like they didn't even have a chance against Baltimore week one. Week two, bounce back. They have a winnable game against Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals are led by rookie quarterback Joe Burrows, and there was discussions prior towards the game. Is Baker Mayfield really made of that stuff of being a franchise player? Now, me personally, I think he is. He has all the talent around him. Nick Chubb, you got Kareem Hunt, Odell, Jarvis. You just signed in the offseason, Cooper. Then you got Ninjoku. You got a stellar defense behind you. You know, Cleveland should be able to win games. In fact, in my opinion, maybe it's a little bit too far of a stretch. They should have a better record than Pittsburgh this year. I know people are going to be like, what are you talking about, Flav? Still got Big Ben there. Yes, Big Ben is still there. But for the amount of weapons that Cleveland has, there should be no reason why Cleveland should not be finishing no less than second place. Now, they're not going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore has, way too dynamic players with Lamar. You got Ingram, Hollywood Brown. That defense looks great. They're not going to be able to beat them. Stylistically, it doesn't fit well with them. But Cleveland had, a game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and Cleveland ended up winning 35-30. Baker looked well. Obviously threw an interception. He seems to be that turnover machine. But he had a good game. Odell had a good game too, and we'll see what ends up happening. That's one of the games that stuck out with me because of the fact that if Cleveland was going to go down 0-2, there was going to be some noise where Baker's more focused about on off the field type of stuff, making commercials. There was talks about that he has more commercials than wins last year, which is true. I think he had about like 9 or 10 different progressive commercials. I think that's a lot for a quarterback that hasn't proven anything yet. And then what do you have in the first 2 weeks? Hulu has live sports. Well, to be honest, I don't want to see no Hulu live sports from Baker Mayfield anytime soon. I want to see him winning. Cleveland put, a great receiving core around him. Should be able to win himself at least no less than about 8 to 9 games this year. No less than that. Anything less than that, to me, don't meet expectation. That's failure right there. The Giants and the Bears. Danny Dimes against Mr. Trubisky. Mr. Trubisky had a great week one against the Detroit Lions, and Danny Dimes had a chance against Pittsburgh. Just felt like he wasn't ready. Saquon Barkley game week one, 15 carries for 6 yards. And it doesn't get any better for Saquon Barkley this week. Unfortunately, Saquon Barkley ended up tearing his ACL, got confirmed on Monday, which means that he is out for the rest of the year. Now, why is it such a big deal? Sure, Giants were not going to go anywhere this year. I actually predicted them this year they were going to finish last. Washington was going to be, third place. Had the Cowboys second place, and then I got the Eagles first. Although I might look like an idiot right now with the way that the Eagles are playing. But that's for a different day. Saquon Barkley ended up tearing his ACL. Didn't look so well. Reason why it's bad because now it's going to be hard. How do you evaluate, Daniel Jones without the face of the franchise that is Saquon Barkley? Yes, Saquon Barkley is the face of the franchise. Do I feel he's a little overrated? Yes, I do feel he's a little overrated. But I also feel like, the Giants haven't supplied him with the right proper parts. I got convinced by a good friend of mine that Giants have a good decent receiving core. They do. Just, I don't know. It seems like things aren't clicking for Big Blue this year, or even like the past couple of years. So I feel like Saquon Barkley, it's not going to progress. It's kind of better for him that he sits out the rest of the year, recovers, doesn't get any damage, doesn't have any, it's not taking big tackles or big hits this year. Has a year to recover. Next year you should come back 100% healthy. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, it's going to affect him a lot, because now he's not going to have no running game. Although there's word that Devontae Freeman just signed a 1-year deal for $3 million. So, the former starting running back from the Atlanta Falcons coming out of free agency signed with the New York Giants. So maybe we'll see some type of production. I don't know what type of state is Devontae Freeman in. We're going to see the old Devontae Freeman, or we're going to see what happened last year that didn't garnish him being part of the Atlanta Falcons this year. I don't know how I feel about that. Seems like you're getting some of these sloppy seconds, but we'll see. Giants ended up losing against the Bears 17-13. They had a chance, just wasn't for them. Bears end week 2 going 2-0. 49ers and the Jets, and more injuries, unfortunately. 49ers ended up winning the game, but it wasn't the win that they kind of wanted. They wanted to leave New York, everybody coming back the same way that they entered. They lost 2 defensive ends that day. They ended up losing Solomon Thomas, who was a top 3 pick a couple years ago, so he's no scrub or anything like that. The boy could play. And ended up losing the rookie of the year last year, defensive player rookie of the year last year, Nick Bosa. Now, I kind of projected that Nick Bosa was going to possibly win defensive player of the year this year because of the way that he ended up playing, even ending the playoffs, the Super Bowl as well. This guy looked like a monster, can't be contained. Seems better than his brother Joey Bosa. But we won't know about that now because Nick Bosa ended up tearing his ACL. Same thing with Solomon Thomas too. So now the 49ers are looking a little bit depleted now because now what do? This defense looks stellar. This defense looks like they could repeat, the same production that they had last year. That defense kind of carried them into the Super Bowl. Yes, Jimmy G was the quarterback, but the 49ers got carried because of the run game and their defense. Now you're losing a huge component in Nick Bosa. You're losing a big component in Solomon Thomas. Raheem Mostert got hurt. Same thing as Jimmy Garoppolo. So it doesn't look very good for San Francisco right now moving forward. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo's injury doesn't seem so serious. And same thing with Raheem Mostert. They're not like season-ending injuries or anything like that. Not like Solomon Thomas or Nick Bosa. But they ended up dominating against the Jets. I mean, both New York franchises, they suck this year. Not going to do it well at all. Best quarterback in New York is Sam Darnold. And it's just a shame that the Jets haven't supplied him with any weapons at all. And as for the Giants, I mean, the Giants are just a joke at this point. Yes, I'm a Giants fan, and I'm going to be able to come forward and say that. Giants, I don't know what they're going to do. Hopefully Devontae Freeman, sparks some type of a plug in them. All right, moving on forward. This game stuck out to me a lot. Cowboys at Falcons, yes, and it was at Jerry World. What a shock right now. Jerry Jones had fans in attendance. I think it was kind of a good thing too. You kind of want to see fans. I mean, I kind of want to go to the game as well too. I might want to be taking a flight to Dallas to see the Cowboys play. When the Giants come into town. over there. But yeah, Falcons ended up it was a close game. It was 39-40. Um, Cowboys ended up pulling through by a Greg Zerline what's it called, field goal. But Falcons had the ability of winning that game. I don't know what the Falcons do. I think this might be Dan Quinn's last year as head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like ever since he ended up blowing that ridiculous lead he had in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, things haven't been the same, and that team hasn't been able to function. I think it's time for some type of change in Atlanta. Julio Jones, he can never get any type of touchdowns or anything like that. He gets massive yards gained every single game, but it seems like it's impossible to get him inside the end zone. Calvin Ridley had a stellar game, multiple touchdowns. This guy is like the best number 2 receiver in the league, in my opinion. Russell Gage, led the game in targets. Matt Ryan's always going to give you great fantasy numbers, but for some reason, can never win you the big game. And Dak Prescott, played stellar along with Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott pounding the ball. Dak Prescott, having his great, trio of wide receivers with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup. I mean, looks terrific. I mean, I could be wrong, like I said, that you have Cowboys finishing second. They might finish first. They're 1-1. Definitely don't count the Washington football team as being division winners this year. Not by Dwayne Haskins. I mean, maybe down the line, Dwayne Haskins can convince me, but this year, no. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you like every single rundown as for the teams that played. I'm just gonna tell you whatever stuck out in my mind. Panthers and Buccaneers. Now this was actually interesting because Tom Brady had a stinker of a game, against the Saints last week. I really wasn't too concerned about that, only because of the fact that he faced the Saints. Now the Saints, in my opinion, are one of the few teams that are able to contend for a Super Bowl this year. Tampa Bay is another team too. I kind of did feel like last week it was a little bit of age and attrition that was kicking in for Tom Brady since he's like 43. But he played well this week. He got a lot of support by Leonard Fournette, who ended up rushing over 100 yards, got a touchdown. Had help with Mike Evans. Mike Evans had a huge game. I think he had like seven receptions for over 100 and a touchdown. Justin Watson caught some catches too. Chris Godwin was hurt, had a concussion. He'll be back for week 3. It's going to help out a lot for the Buccaneers. And as for the Carolina Panthers, the Panthers didn't do so well at all. Ended up losing Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be sidelined due to an ankle injury. He might miss anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. So it's very unfortunate. And lastly, the last 2 games that stuck out to me, outside of the Bucs, you got Patriots and Seahawks. Anytime those two meet up with one another, it's crazy. This game, Cam had like a throwing party right there, throwing for over 400 yards. Russell Wilson threw for 5 touchdowns. This game went down to the wire. Last game of the game, it went down. We all knew what was going to happen. There, Josh McDaniels was going to set up for Cam Newton to run in for the game-winning touchdown. And what a play by the Seattle Seahawks secondary. They bull rushed in. They ended up knocking down the fullback, causing a stutter step on Cam Newton, preventing Cam Newton from being able to jump over the pile and getting into the end zone. Stopping the Patriots from scoring. Game over. Seattle moves on 2-0. Patriots end week 2 going 1-1. It was incredible. Anytime I feel like the Seahawks and the Patriots end up playing, they're always doing extreme. It's always like high scoring. It's always it goes down to the wire. Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll might have to be like the two best coaches in the league. Definitely Bill Belichick. Pete Carroll, he's up there. He's definitely top three in my opinion. He's definitely top three. And then lastly, the Monday Night Football game. Wow, what? Now I didn't expect that from the Saints. I know they lost Michael Thomas because he rolled his ankle and he's probably gonna be gone for a couple weeks. But what happened to the Saints, man? Jeez, man. So the Saints go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas opens their doors for the very first time. And the Saints defense got chewed up by Darren Waller. Now, Darren Waller is a very, very good tight end, but he just did whatever he wanted. Now, Darren Waller, to me, he kind of reminds me of Aaron Hernandez. The way he runs, the way he catches, body build, the way he plays the position of tight end. He kind of plays like Aaron Hernandez. Not saying that he is Aaron Hernandez off the field. I'm definitely not saying that at all. But he plays like Aaron Hernandez, and if he's able to play like him, watch out. Las Vegas has a great tight end. You can build something with that. You can build with Waller and Josh Jacobs. You got something special going on over there. And Josh Jacobs did well too. That kid's a bulldozer right there. Though Alabama is known for building running backs, and outside of Trent Richardson, I can't think of one Alabama running back that didn't pan out well. And yeah, Derek Carr did well against the New Orleans defense, and New Orleans had a chance. New Orleans had a chance to win the game, but they messed up. I don't know what Janoris Jenkins was doing on that last drive. He fell for the bait. Henry Ruggs only had one reception at that moment, and he's a speedster. The Raiders love speedster. Even dating back to when Al Davis was still alive, they ended up drafting Darius Hayward-Bay. What's it called? Henry Ruggs reminds me of Darius Hayward-Bay, the way that he runs his routes. But I don't know what Janoris Jenkins and the Saints were thinking. They fell for that trap. It was third. I think it was like third down, if I'm not mistaken. It was just a simple fly route. Jenkins feels like Ruggs is slipping away from him, hooks him, and holds on to his arm. And every single time, that's going to be automatic PI. So it's going to be pass interference. Game over. And then that ruins any chances that the Saints had on winning. Drew Brees didn't look well. He didn't play well. He kind of looked like he was his own age. Played like as of a 42-year-old quarterback, would play in those circumstances. Alvin Kamara was the only player, in my opinion, that did extremely well. Yeah, Jared Cook got a touchdown, but I don't know what's going to happen with the Saints moving on forward. I mean, the Saints have they could definitely bounce back, but this might be if we're going to see this moving on forward from Drew Brees, this would definitely be his last year. So yeah, that concluded week 2 and week 3. I mean, games that stick out in my mind. I mean, Thursday Night Football, I'm not really concerned about that at all. It's Dolphins and Jaguars. I got actually Dolphins winning that game. The Bears and Falcons, no. One game that sticks out: Bills and Rams. LA 2-0. Bills 2-0. The Rams are traveling to Buffalo, so we'll see what happens with there. Josh Allen has been having 2 stellar games back to back, so I'm actually really enticed on watching that matchup. That matchup starts at 1:00. And then I want to see Texans and Steelers. I mean, Deshaun Watson, he lost out on DeAndre Hopkins by a stupid trade. Stupid trade, in my opinion. I would have never given up Hopkins for David Johnson and a second-round draft pick. Absolutely not. But we'll see what I want to see what happens with with Watson versus the Steelers defense. If he's able to pull this through, then I think he may be able to have a decent season. But if he's not able to pull this through against the Steelers and they go down 0-3, I mean, there's going to be a lot of discussions to be made in Houston whether or not you should get rid of Bill O'Brien or not, because Houston, you guys have a problem. Another matchup that sticks out, obviously Cowboys and Seahawks. That's going to be your 425 game. That's going to be game of the week, in my opinion. That should be interesting because Seattle's defense, their secondary, they've been giving up tons of yards. I mean, you got Cam Newton throwing over 400 passing yards. The week prior towards that, you had Matty Ice throwing bonkers to anywhere he wanted, to Julio, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, you know. And I don't know. I just don't count out Russell Wilson at all. Russell Wilson, in my opinion, he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks, in my opinion. I've been following this guy since he was in NC State, transferred over to Wisconsin. He is the reason why I root for the Seahawks. Like I said, I'm a big time Giants fan, but I'm a Russell Wilson fan, so I root for the Seahawks. I want him always winning. This guy's a future Hall of Famer. This guy's one of the best quarterbacks in this league. He's easily top 3. It's debatable if you want to put him top 2. But yeah, that's my opinion right there. Also, the Sunday Night Football game between Packers and Saints, that should be interesting because of the fact that Packers are 2-0. No Devontae Adams. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be relying on Aaron Jones? Is he going to throw the ball to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Alan Lazard? Who's he going to really throw it to? Be interesting to see that. I think you should be able to pick apart the New Orleans Saints defense. And then New Orleans, you lost a bad game against the Raiders. You got dominated with no Michael Thomas. Are you able to bounce back, still with no Michael Thomas? Drew Brees has to really rely on not depending on Michael Thomas. I'll throw the ball to Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, throw screen passes to Alvin Kamara. I mean, you got options over there too. You have Traquan Smith. I'm sorry about that. And then this is honestly, in my opinion, the best game of the week. I know I said Cowboys Seahawks. This week 3 is really, really special. Please tune in and watch Monday Night Football. Chiefs and Ravens. That might be a preview of the AFC title game. Both 2-0. Somebody's gotta go. I'm gonna lean in favor towards Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he has weapons off the wazoo. Claire Edwards-Helaire. You still got Tyreek Hill. You still got so many weapons. Travis Kelce. Lamar, and then for the Ravens, it's Lamar Jackson. You got Mark Ingram, Hollywood Brown, Mark Andrews. Want to be one of the best matchups. I mean, Caesars on books favors Baltimore by 3.5. I completely disagree, but we'll see. I don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. You just don't. And lastly, the NFL has been very, very keen on their coaches wearing face masks. Recently, John Gruden, Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, and can't remember all the other ones, but they all got $100,000 fines. Plus, the team got an additional $250,000 fine on top of that. So, I don't know what's going to happen. Guys, wear your mask. It's not worth getting fined $100,000. It's a lot of money right there. You don't want to be throwing $100,000 for down the drain. If you want to do something like that, please email me. I'll gladly take your money. I'll more than gladly take your money. Buy myself a studio, so we can get this production, up and going. But yeah, guys, that's first and goal. All right. And that's all the time that I have. Tomorrow, we're going to have the return of the heavy jalapeno. He'll be back for dropping dimes. All right. And we'll talk about, this game that we have going on between the Lakers and the Nuggets. And yeah, just stay tuned for dropping dimes tomorrow. And then obviously Thursday, you got Take Your Base. Mets won. Yankees into the clinching. And I'll be able to conclude with you guys more about the ending of the baseball season. All right, guys, you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys more later on. All right, have a good night, guys. Peace.